What do you mean, nothing?
He proposed. I said no.
Florence. No, wait! Do you realize what you've done?
Yes. Saved myself from a life of slavery.
Oh, my goodness, Florence, how could you?
I just couldn't. Is that so hard to believe?
You have kept that man dangling for 5 years!
He understood perfectly, better than you.
And you did exactly the same thing with the Nicholson boy, and now our families rarely speak to one another.
Would you kindly excuse me, please? Look at this. Look at it! Can any reasonable person want all this? The linen, the china, the 56 pots of jam!
Well, if ever one is to entertain properly...
And to be treated like a piece of furniture, nailed to an existence where you talk about nothing but who's coming to dinner! What's happened?
She said no.
To Richard?
Yes. She called it slavery. Slavery?
But Flo, you know you could have done anything you like with the poor man. Look at Mama and the way she manages our dear Papa. Why, half the time he has no idea what's
going on. Yes, that will be quite enough. Florence, you know I never asked you to be anyone's slave. I have been very indulgent. I'm sure my mother never considered what I thought. The least you can do in common courtesy is to listen to me.
I'll go out and I'll find work.
Oh, my dear young lady.
I will. Think of me as your son, your vagabond son. I won't cost you a penny. Isn't that good, Mother? Marriage is so expensive. Imagine the savings.
I know what you have in mind. This absurd notion of becoming a nurse, which I will never agree to.
That is God's way for me.
Don't bring God into this again. It has nothing to do with him, and you know it. I will not allow you to disgrace yourself. Emptying slop buckets, living at the beck and call of lechers and drunks. Have you any idea what goes on in hospitals? No woman of character would ever... Yes, dear?
Fanny, my love, the Colonel's just leaving. What shall I say to him?
Tell him there's no tyranny like the petty tyranny of a good English family.
She said no to Richard.
Why does she have to spoil everything?
You have to speak to that girl, Wen.
Yes.
After that, everything changed. Dismayed but resigned, my parents gave in, and I set about acquiring the largest hospital experience man or woman ever had. In truth, I lost Richard, but I gained my freedom. And yet, I confess, if I were to see him again, even now, I don't understand it. I'm ashamed to understand it. But not one day has passed without my thinking of him.
Flo? Are you all right?
It's nothing. I'm over it. The Crimean fever. I was quite ill.
Guess who's here? Sidney. He just arrived from Westminster. He has news.
Really? I knew he'd get the government to see sense. Nothing. Nothing at all.
My dear, the British public has had quite enough of the Crimean catastrophe. It's over.
No, it's only just begun. The catastrophe, with our silence. You must help me, Sidney. You absolutely must. You always have, and you can do it again. I know you can. Otherwise, everything we've been through these past 2 years will have been for nothing.
Florence, I'm no longer Minister at War. Just a plain old, humble Member of Parliament making occasional speeches.
Very fine occasional speeches, Sidney, if I may say so.
I brought you this.
You don't have to bring me presents. Just tell me justice will be done.
May I see?
Sir John Hall, for instance, that miserable excuse for a military surgeon. Has he been court-martialed, stripped of his command?
No.
Entered a monastery, perhaps, to do some well-deserved penance?
Not quite.
Blackballed from his club, at least.
He's been given a KCB.
A KCB. Which stands for Knight of the Crimean Burial Grounds, I suppose.
Flo.
What a beautiful brooch.
Bit overdone, isn't it?
But see who it is from.
In appreciation of her service, Victoria.
Her Majesty will be in Balmoral next week. She wants to meet you. and to talk. I believe she may even be inclined to listen. Now, this is important, Florence. The Queen is very interested in the fate of the army. You must remember, she thinks of it as her army. That's the way to engage her interest. Do you follow me?
Do try to be tactful, Florence. Don't say anything that might upset Her Majesty. Nothing about maggots and wounds and frostbite and limbs falling off. Please.
You're off to see the Queen today. Oh, do be careful what you say, or you will quickly be excused. Her Majesty is not amused by stories set to shock and scare, so listen to Mother and please beware. We don't want to hear about maggots. We'd rather not learn about lice. Just make everything pretty and jolly and happy and nice. We don't want to hear a soldier swear or listen to moaning and screams. We don't want to hear a single cough to bother Her Majesty's dreams. Be sure never to tell her about all the blood and the gore. Surely you know it's not right or polite to make a queen faint on the floor. She's happy to hear of daring deeds by soldier, colonel or toff, but never, not ever, no, never discuss.
The fingers that keep falling off, the heads that keep falling off, the legs that keep falling off, the heads that keep falling off.
Because everything keeps falling off.
May I offer you some tea, dear?
Thank you, Mum.
Please continue.
Yes, Mum. We lost 10,000 men in 6 months, mostly through gross incompetence, and I came home to find that many of the officers responsible had been promoted. Given honours, medals, titles. Crimes were committed. Terrible suffering inflicted that could easily have been avoided.
Yes, Miss Nightingale, but what exactly entitles you to be the judge of that?
I studied and visited all the hospitals in London, Dublin, Edinburgh, Paris, Rome and Berlin. I was twice in training with the Protestant deaconesses at the Kaiserwerth Institute in Germany. I spent 1 year as superintendent of the Harley Street nursing home. I personally scrubbed floors of sick rooms, emptied bedpans. I nursed cholera patients whose whole bodies were a mass of...
Thank you. And your parents permitted all of this?
They came to understand that I had a calling, that this has truly been God's will for me.
I see. And what is it you suggest we do about these crimes, as you call them?
A royal commission, Ma'am.
A royal commission?
Nothing less than a royal commission will suffice to bring out the truth. It is our sacred duty to the Crimean dead. And if I may, Your Majesty, it is also a heaven-sent opportunity to reform the entire hospital system of the nation, not just of the army. Beg your pardon, Ma'am. Of your army. Forgive me, Mum. It has been a lifelong dream of mine.
We shall think about it. Remarkable woman. I wish we had her at the War Office.
I'll convey that sentiment to the Minister, Ma'am.
Good. Oh, and as to that commission...
Yes, Ma'am, I seriously doubt whether it's in the best interests
May I finish?
Ma'am.
We do want our brave soldiers to receive the very best care. Please see to it.
The commission.
The commission, Prime Minister.
A difficult meeting. I'm afraid the Queen was somewhat taken aback by your proposal. Yes, a royal commission. That could have consequences, ramifications.
Well, I had hoped
You
that-
were quite forceful, you know.
Well, I'm sorry, but...
However, I did prevail upon Her Majesty to change her mind, and she has graciously agreed to allow the Commission to go forward under my supervision.
Thank you, my lord. Thank you very much.
I well remember one evening at the Verneys when you were very eloquent on the subject of nursing and so forth. A worthy cause. Now, one minor detail.
Of course.
I would like you to submit your evidence to me in the form of a report, a confidential report. There are susceptibilities to be considered. Are we agreed?
Yes. Agreed.
Good. Give my regards to your charming mother. I hope to have the pleasure of seeing you at the Devonshires next weekend.
Oh, I'm afraid you won't see me. I'll be writing my report.
Excellent. To work, then.
Suite room, ready, waiting for you. Please, if there's anything that you need, anything at all.
They want a report from me, do they? Then they shall have it. This room should be my war office. My family always stay here when we come to London. The fine old Burlington Hotel. This room is ample, and compared with my lodgings in the Crimea, utter luxury. But how could I sleep in comfort when so many of my children lie in unmarked graves? I call them my children. Those ordinary soldiers who died in pain and silence, uncomplaining. Though the officers called them brutes, the scum of the earth. My children. What a tale I have to tell. How eager and proud they all were when they first set out. The very names of those regiments made our hearts beat faster. The Royal Dragoons, the Grenadier Guards, the 93rds, the Inniskillings, the Coldstream Guards, the Royal Fusiliers. Off they went, with their brand new rifles and pretty sparkling uniforms. Off to teach the Russian Bear a lesson. The finest army in the world, we thought. Invincible, we thought. Back home in a month. We thought.
Oh, everybody, let's hear it for our brave British boys in British uniforms! Can you believe it? Is it? Oh, no, it isn't. Oh, yes, you're right. It's a lightning, frightening, fighting Light Brigade!
The Ruskies of Light Brigade. For glory, Queen and country too, we draw our steel and shout hooray.
The lightning, frightening, fighting Light Brigade. Who never been afraid.
We're the glorious Light Brigade. The Ruskies of Light Brigade. You've never seen soldiers like us before, who boldly charge the cannon's roar. The lightning, frightening, fighting